We just can't get enough of this capital budgeting stuff. So now we've looked at payback periods, discounted payback periods. We've looked at net present value and profitability index. And today we're going to look at internal rates of return. The good news here is Excel's got a built-in function for that. So we're just going to use IRR of, and you notice it says values. When we do the values, you should recognize these numbers. I've been using these all along. But again, the outlay has to be negative. Any negative cash flows show up as negative. So that's what I'm going to put in there. Put it in the parentheses. Well, that's it. Oh, looks like 0. Well, let's make some more. 24%. Okay. Now, if that's greater than our hurdle rate or greater than the cost of capital, we do the project. It's as simple as that. So this is, let me just Control C, Control V. Got a bad number, but that's okay. Well, that error, by the way, is what you'll get. When I copied it, it moved all these numbers over, so it missed this one. There's no negative number, and that's what you get if there's no negative number. So let's fix it and go. I don't want to do that. I'm going to add a space in here, and what happened? There we go. I'm going to add a space in here so you can read it. I should probably change this to, just so you know that it's accurate, A to F is what I used. Right? It's the internal rate of return of this row here. Okay? Easy. Internal rate of return, easy to use. And again, I'm going to use this if this rate of return, which I can show if I want as a percent, is greater than my hurdle rate. I don't want to show this as a percent. I like to keep in decimals. Keeps us out of trouble. So that's just it. In the lecture, I talked about how the fact that if the internal rate of return is equal to the discount rate, then the IRR is equal to the net present value. So let's do this. Let's go here. This is the IRR. Let's also calculate the net present value. That's equal to net present value of, and then we'll just do a simple thing like this. Well, the rate. I'm going to use this discount rate again. And here's my values. My net present value is $6,091. Copy that over here so you can see it. Okay. And again, this should be an A. I haven't done that in some of the other videos, but I'm doing that just to be very careful here. All right, so you can see what this looks like. Well, in the lecture, I said that if when the internal rate of return is equal to the discount rate, the net present value is 0. Let's try it. Let's put in here I'll just put in here for, instead of the rate, I'm going to put the internal rate of return and see what happens. So instead of this rate, I'm going to use the internal rate of return, the one above it. How do I get there from here? Well, let me do that. I'll do it up here. I'm going to say the internal rate of return is B5. and my net present value is 0. I'll show you what I did again, just so you can see what I did. I used the internal rate of return that I calculated for my rate, and my net present value became. Okay, I hope I didn't do that too fast for you. What I did was, in this equation for the rate, instead of putting the rate in of 0.07, I put in 0.24, and that gives me a 0. If indeed I come back in here and I put in, instead of this, I put in the rate, I get back to my net present value. Let me actually do that again. So let's calculate this again. E of my rate, I'm going to use the internal rate of return, and I'm going to use these guys. And I get 0. I'll copy this. And of course I get a value thing because it's all messed up. And I didn't really use a C5, I used B5. And it was, again, A to F. So the only difference in these two NPVs is the rate that I used. This one, I used our discount rate, like we always did in net present values. In here, I used the internal rate of return, which just shows that it's that when I discount it at the internal rate of return, it's 0. There's nothing magic. Nobody's going to ask you probably ever in your life to do that. It just might give you a little more insight into what internal rate of return is. But you will use internal rate of return or net present value typically. And internal rate of return, the requirement is it's greater than the hurdle rate.